All right, with the final season of Stranger Things just around the corner, the Upside Down is finally about to give up all its secrets. But you know what? The biggest clues aren't about what's coming. They're actually hidden in everything we've already seen. So today, we're going to unpack the 5 biggest theories that just might explain what happens next in Hawkins.
So here's the game plan. We're going to tackle 5 huge mysteries. First up, what's really going on with Max? Then we'll get into Vecna's secret origin story, which changes everything. After that, Will's connection to it all, Vecna's one real weakness, and finally, we gotta talk about what's behind that giant, disgusting meat wall. Okay, let's start with the biggest cliffhanger from season 4. We see Max Mayfield in a coma at the hospital, right? But when Eleven looks for her, there's nothing there. Her mind is just gone. So the big question is, where is she? And this is where it gets really terrifying. You have this paradox where her body is physically in Hawkins, but her consciousness, herself, is trapped inside Vecna's mind. So she's not just a prisoner, she's a part of him now. The question isn't just how does she get back? It's can she get back at all? You know, Dr. Brenner actually gave us the answer back in season 4. He says, when Vecna kills, he consumes them. And he wasn't being poetic, he meant it literally. A piece of everyone he kills becomes a prisoner inside his head. So even though they got Max's heart started again, a part of her consciousness was already consumed, and it's still in there with him right now.
So how do they get her out? Well, the Duffer Brothers are huge fans of the book A Wrinkle in Time, and you can totally see the influence here. Max is basically Mr. Murray, a prisoner on a dark, evil planet. In the book, he's freed by something very specific and personal. For Max, we know what that is, her favorite song. Music is literally the key, the bridge between his mind and our world. And honestly, it might be her only way out. And that brings us to Vecna himself. Look, we all thought we had his story figured out, right? But the official Stranger Things stage play, The First Shadow, just blew all of that up. It turns out Henry Creel wasn't born a monster. He was made.
The whole thing started way back in 1947. As a little kid, Henry finds this weird government tech that zaps him into another dimension, this chaotic, primordial place they call Dimension X. And when he comes back 12 hours later, something came back with him. He was infected by that shadow thing we now know as the Mind Flayer, so his powers, they were never his. They were the result of a cosmic infection. This just changes the entire picture. He wasn't some natural-born psychopath who took over the Upside Down. No. He was Dimension X's very first victim, just an outcast kid who became the host for this alien thing. Now, it doesn't make him a good guy, not at all, but it definitely makes him a much more tragic and complicated villain. And here's where it gets crazy. This all ties back to one of the show's biggest mysteries, the date November 6th. I mean, think about it. That's the day Will was taken. It's the day of Henry Creel's big school play, and it's the exact date that the Upside Down is frozen in time on. The Duffer Brothers have said that if you can figure out why it's stuck on that day, you've found the key to beating Vecna for good. Speaking of crucial characters, let's talk about Will Byers. His horrible, painful connection to the Upside Down hasn't just left him traumatized. It might actually given him the exact power they need to end all this. He's not just the spy anymore. He's becoming a full-on sorcerer. I mean, the evidence has been piling up for years. The goosebumps on his neck, that's not just a feeling. He's sensing the hive mind. His visions aren't just PTSD flashbacks. He's literally seeing things happen in the Upside Down in real time. And now, the nosebleeds. In this universe, that's the telltale sign of psionic power, the ability to change the world with your mind. Being connected for so long has changed him, just like it changed Henry Creel. So you have to wonder, why did Vecna let him live for so long? Well, there are a few big theories. It could be like a Harry Potter and Voldemort thing, where they're linked and one can't live while the other survives. Or maybe Vecna uses him like a two-way radio to spy on our world. Or maybe, just maybe, he sees a little of himself in Will. But the biggest theory? That Will's own mind and memories are the glue holding the entire Upside Down together. Okay, so all of this power and cosmic horror, it feels like it's building to this massive final battle. But what if the weapon that's going to win the war isn't Eleven's powers or some military weapon? What if Vecna's greatest weakness is something way more human? Just think about how Max escaped back in season 4. The music, running up that hill, it triggered a happy memory. And the powerful emotion in that memory, love for her friends, it literally ripped open a portal for her to run through.
In the world of Stranger Things, love isn't just a feeling. It's a real, tangible force that can punch a hole right through Vecna's psychic control.
And that brings us right back to Will. Remember, in D&D, he's Will the Wise, a sorcerer whose magic comes from inside. His entire character arc has been about learning to accept who he is. So this theory suggests his ultimate power won't be some big energy blast. It'll be an act of self-love and acceptance, and that act will give him the strength to finally cut the cord to Vecna forever. He's not just another soldier in the fight. He might be the one person who can actually erase Vecna's influence for good.
But here's the thing. Defeating Vecna might not be enough to save Hawkins. And that brings us to our last and kind of grossest mystery. That giant, pulsing wall of flesh that's swallowing the town. What is that thing? And what is it for? You know, to understand the wall, we have to go all the way back to Season 1. Remember Mr. Clark's science lesson with the paper plate? He wasn't just teaching the kids about physics. He was basically spelling out the entire endgame for us. He was showing them how you could build a bridge between two different dimensions. The fancy science term for it is an Einstein-Rosen bridge, but you and I know it as a wormhole, a tunnel through space-time. And what do we see scribbled on Mr. Clark's chalkboard in the Season 5 trailer? A diagram of that exact thing. The answer has been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
And that leads to a truly terrifying idea. The meat wall isn't a wall. It's a construction site. Vecna is building a massive, permanent tunnel to connect his world directly to ours. He's not just opening little gates anymore. He's building a superhighway for a full-on invasion.
And where is the center of this whole invasion tunnel? Well, thanks to Dustin's math, we know the epicenter is the one place it was always going to be. Hawkins' lab. Of course, the place where this nightmare started is exactly where it has to end. So that leaves us with the biggest question for this final season. Can they actually close this thing and save their town? Or is it just too late? In his D&D campaign, Mike says something that really hits hard. Sometimes the heroes don't get to go home. They have to find a new, peaceful land to start over. So what's it going to be? Will our heroes save Hawkins? Or will they be forced to leave it behind forever?